Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, and welcome to this educational presentation where today I'm going to talk to you about identifying extreme moves in advance. And the reason why we're going to focus so much on identifying them is because most traders usually identify the opposite. When a trend is just about to take place and be underway, most of us think, well, it's overbought or it's oversold. And so we actually do the opposite. For example, if we look at this chart here, in Netflix, right? Coming into last week, the stock had been going up rather strongly, but a lot of traders who like to follow, let's say, candlesticks, would have seen that right here, it was a negative pattern. It's called a dark cloud candle pattern. This usually is followed by continued downward action. So at this point, most would say, well, sure, we're in a small short-term uptrend, but it's time to sell it because it's probably going to go down, and I'll buy it when it gets a little bit lower if I think it's going to go up. But with the tool I'm going to share with you today, it would not have seen a dark cloud candle pattern at all. In fact, on this second bar in the two-bar pattern, it actually would have generated a buy signal telling you that most likely an extreme uptrend was about to take place. And coming into this week, you would have seen that Netflix continue to go higher. In fact, 57 points in just 1 week. Now, this can also work to the downside. We look here at an older chart of Adobe going back about a month. Some of us would say, well, sure, it's gone down here on this day, but you know what, Steve, I took that $10,000 course on support and resistance, and I have that program where it tells me where all the institutions are buying, and they're all buyers right here because this is major Fibonacci support, so you have to buy right here. This is where all the banks and everyone else is buying, okay? This is why most of us don't see when an extreme trend is just about to take place. We're usually doing the opposite, because the tool, once again, I'm going to be talking about today, would not have seen any support here whatsoever. In fact, it would have generated a sell signal, meaning that a strong downward trend was just about to take place, and you could have potentially captured 93 points in the following weeks. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. And the best thing is that everything I'm going to share with you is one click away on the PTS Primo charting platform. You'll be able to identify extreme moves in advance simply by clicking one button on our platform. This is the educational platform that identifies extreme moves in advance for you. So welcome once again. My name is Steven Primo, president and founder of Specialist Trading. Thanks for joining us once again. Today, I want to talk to you about a tool that I have been using the past couple of years, and it really helped me a lot because many times when I'm thinking about getting in, I'll use this as something to help me to see if we're in an extreme trend or just about to get into an extreme trend. This is something that I was first introduced to some years ago on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange when I started trading some 45 years ago. But we were lucky enough, using my teaming up with Pro Trader Strategies and being able to have high-speed computers and programmers, to make it into a really useful tool that all you have to do is click on one button on our platform, and it's immediately right there for you. We've taken all the hard work out of it for you. So this is what we're going to be talking about in today's educational presentation. Now, before I begin, as always, we are required to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using this tool to identify these extreme trends, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. Also, since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, if you'd like to get more education on a daily basis, oops, it went there a little bit too much, please feel free to follow us on Twitter. There's our handle right there. I would suggest copying that down because that'll take you to our Twitter page. I post different information on a daily basis. Some of the signals that our strategies or methods have generated. I also post bits of financial wisdom. So there's lots of great free education on a daily basis. Please feel free to follow us on Twitter. Now, probably one of the most common questions I get from new students is, well, Steve, can you tell me what the perfect time frame is? Like, what time frame do you trade? Or they'll say, Steve, what's the great market that I should be trading? Okay, what's the current market that I would have the best interest in? Or should I be trading a certain strategy? Tell me what you think the best strategy is. Remember, this is the way we're all trained, to ask someone outside of ourselves what we should do. And this is why most traders fail. It's because you're taking yourself out of the game. This is the main reason why I formed Specialist Trading with Pro Trader Strategies over a decade ago, so that we could teach you things that have high levels of consistency, so that ultimately you would never have to ask anyone, hey, what do you think of the market? Hey, what do you think of this stock? Or what do you think I should do? Remember, when you ask those questions, you're basically saying to the markets or whoever is around you, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to trade. I don't have enough experience. I don't have enough knowledge, or I don't have enough guts to pull the trigger myself. So why don't you do it for me? Trading is not a hobby. Trading is not something that you do in your spare time. It's your hard-earned money. You should approach it very seriously. A lawyer doesn't say, well, how do you think I should try this case? What do you think I should do? A brain surgeon doesn't say, well, how do you think I should operate here? What do you think I should do? Or an airline pilot doesn't go over the intercom and say, hey, how does anybody think I should fly this today? If I heard that on an airplane, I'd walk out, right? You want that person to be in charge. It's no different with trading. You should never ask, what do you think of the markets? You should have the tools and the information readily available in front of you so that you know what you want to do going into the trade even before you pull the trigger. So this is why we started Specialist Trading. This is why we do not predict what the market's going to do or tell you what the best stock is to buy or sell. Those are things you have to decide. The good news is we teach you so that you can make that decision on your own. You'll see that in today's educational presentation. So as I always state, my goal is not to force feed you signals like so many other websites do or so many so-called educators do. That would be doing you a disservice. It would be taking you out of the game even further. My goal as an educator is simply to teach you how to trade with a specialist edge. Now, when I first started 45 years ago, I struggled tremendously. I went almost a full 2 years without making any money, and I was on the floor of the exchange. And I was lucky enough to have some mentors who taught me these same principles and who taught me the exact same way. They wouldn't just tell me what they were buying and selling. They said, you have to learn how to decide for yourself. And that's been the cornerstone of what's kept me trading for 45 years. So hopefully I'll be able to do the same for all of you in today's class and students of mine. Okay. Now, before we begin, a few announcements. Remember, this is being recorded. So yes, you will all receive a recording to this after today's presentation. But I think I have roughly about 130, 140 slides to share with you today. So if you have a question, please, let's not ask them after every slide is being presented. Please ask at the end of the presentation. I promise I'll reserve the last 15 minutes or so for any questions that you may have, okay? Also, since this is not an interactive presentation on Zoom where we can contact each other and get on video and speak at will, this is a static PowerPoint presentation. I don't have live charts here, just a PowerPoint presentation. So please, if you have your cameras or microphones on, please disable all cameras and all microphones, and remember to ask questions at the end, okay? All right, with that stated, let's start today's educational presentation. I like to start out with a theme of every one of my classes. So here's today's thing. It's a gambler's mindset. It's a gambler's mentality to try and pick tops and bottoms. Unfortunately, we're all taught that's the way to trade, right? But that's really a gambler's mindset, because you're never going to pick the top and bottom, just as you're never going to pick the long shot of a horse race or of a ball game. It's a professional mindset to simply trade with the trend, simply basically to go with the current at your back. That's the way professional traders trade. They never try to pick tops and bottoms. They're always just going with the trend. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now we're going to be talking about extreme trends. So how do we find the extreme trend? By using the PTS-XT. This is the tool we're going to be talking about today. So for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's an indicator designed to identify extreme trends in advance. I know a lot of you would say, oh, well, Steve, I thought you have other indicators like the PET-D or the buy-sell line. Those are completely different. For example, the buy-sell line will just identify the overall trend. That's it. It doesn't tell you if it's going to be a strong overall trend or a weak one. It just tells you what the overall trend is. Now, the PET-D, a very good tool, is designed to identify the short-term trend, all right? But it doesn't tell you whether that short-term trend is going to be strong, sideways, or weak. It doesn't give you any of that information. It just simply identifies it for you on a tick-by-tick basis. The difference with the PTS-XT is that its only job is just to identify extreme trends where there's most likely going to be a big move. That's what it's designed for. Okay, so that's where it differentiates with all those other tools we have. For example, as we look at this older chart in FCX, a weekly chart, Freeport McMillan, obviously it had extreme move to the upside. So how did the PTS-XT identify this? Well, when you have a move to the upside, what this tool does is paint a yellow block around bars that it deems to be in an extreme uptrend. So as you see right here, it started painting the yellow block right back here. And this is where you would have been interested in buying, because look what happened after that. Now, remember, it's just a tool that tells you when an extreme trend is in play or about to be in play. It doesn't tell you how high something's going to go, or as we look here, it doesn't tell you how low something's going to go. As we look at ABNB, obviously an extreme trend to the downside. How could the PTS-XT have helped us? Because obviously many of us don't find out we're in an extreme trend until it's too late. But the PTS-XT will paint a red block around bars that it deems are in an extreme downtrend. And right here, you would have known well in advance, before the market fell out of bed, that most likely there was going to be a strong move to the downside. Remember, it differentiates from the other tools we have in that its only job is to identify these big moves, these extreme up or down trends, okay? So that's its main job, to identify these moves. Now, it's based on multiple proprietary indicators and their relationship to one another. But the good news is it doesn't matter that you have to spend the time figuring out what the interaction is. It's very cumbersome, and we don't want you to have to be in the heat of the moment having to figure out if a signal has been generated or not. We take all of that hard work out of it for you. But in the course, the real secret is in how to apply it correctly. We teach you different ways in which to trade it. In fact, I'm going to share with you the simplest and most powerful way to trade it today. And then lastly, because of its simplicity, the PTS-XT is our most popular trading tool to date, because it's that simple. And I'll show you in just a few moments how simple it can be for your trading. So here's a simple 3-step daily trade process to go through. Remember, we have multiple ways to trade it. I show you how to trade it as I'm going to be sharing with you today. I show you different ways in the course, multiple ways to enter, multiple ways to exit, multiple ways to place your stop. Today, we're just going to be talking about the most basic way to trade it, okay? That's by applying this 3-step daily trade process. And you can only apply this process on the PTS Primo charts, because once again, we've taken the hard work out of it for you. It's difficult to go through all the entire list of the S&P 500, but when you have our PTS Primo chart platform, it makes it simple. It's one click away, because we teach traders how to trade. Okay, step number 1. On or after the close of the trading day, simply conduct a nightly PTS-XT scan. Now, I know some of you may say, what do you mean on or after the close? Well, we realize that not everyone is able to be in front of their computer all the time during the workday. Some of you may have jobs and you're watching this at work right now, or else you come home and you want to see what the market did that day. Okay, so you'll have to conduct a nightly scan when you get home. That's all right. But if you're in front of your computer, what you can do is 5 to 3 minutes before the close, conduct a scan. So you can actually enter into or use this to apply a trade that day, just a minute or 2 before the close. So let me show you how simple it is to apply this scan, because that's a pet peeve of mine. I've traded just about every platform out there. And to this day, there are some platforms, I won't mention their names, I still can't figure out how to use their scanner. It's just too cumbersome, too difficult. Let me show you how simple it is on our platform. Once you open up your platform, our platform, you'll see this page right here, okay? This has all our strategies and in the green strategy tab, and you have a blank page here, and you can load a chart or whatever you'd like to do. What we want to do is go to the PTS-XT Extreme Trend tab, okay? You'll see that, and just simply click it on. You'll get a drop-down menu like this, and click on Scan, okay? Once you click that on, this page automatically appears, the PTS-XT Extreme Trend scanning page. I go to the left-hand corner over here and click on Load Symbol List. We provide you with a list of ETFs, indices, futures, currency pairs, even Bitcoin you can choose from. You can even create your own custom list if you like to follow 10, 20 stocks, and you can nightly scan through those as well. Let's just say we picked the NASDAQ 100. Okay, so in a second, you'll see the list of all the stocks in the NASDAQ 100. Now, click scan. That's it. I've taken probably 10 times longer than it takes to do this, but less than 30 seconds, you'll see a list of green or red colored bars here. All right. That takes us to step number 2. We want to select stocks to trade that have a bar count of 1. So what does that mean? Well, let's go back to the page again. We see here that we have these 2 columns. On the right, it says bar count. All right, so what does this mean? This means the amount of bars that that particular coinciding stock has been in either yellow or a red block. Yellow block for up, red block for down. So obviously, if we want to get in at the beginning of an extreme move, if it's about to happen, we don't know, there's no 100% certainty that it will happen, but if it is going to happen, that's where you want to get in, right? On the very close of the first bar, either in that yellow or red block. Well, this tells us. So what you see right here, these are all right here, bar number 1, meaning that these are just about to close, or they have closed only 1 day or 1 bar in that block, in the green block. So you just look at the coinciding stocks right here that this matches up with. Okay. Now that brings us to step 3, which is the most important and which puts you in the ball game. Because remember, it's up to you to decide whether you want to trade. This is not a black box system where we all have to trade the same way. We don't understand why we're doing it. We just have to buy or sell because it's a black box. It just spits out buy or sell orders. We have freedom here to decide, well, this stock, I don't know, I've been looking at it and tracking it. I don't feel comfortable, or maybe the earnings are coming out, or maybe I just don't like the market. I'm going to hold on. That's the freedom you have. Remember, but it's your decision. You have to decide what stock to trade, not me, not some guy on TV, not some, brother-in-law down the street. You are in charge of your trading destiny. All right, let's look at this example here in FTNT. Once again, you're looking at this as a blank chart here, but you could have scanned that night and then seen that it was in the first bar of a yellow block. So the next day, you could have said to yourself, well, I'm going to buy this. Okay, I really like this stock, and I think I thought it was going to go up, but I didn't know it was going to be an extreme move. So you buy right here, either on the close, if you did this a couple of minutes before the close, or the next day, and look what happened. In 3 weeks, it's up 22 points. All without the aid of having to look at the earnings, all without the aid of having to, subscribe or pay for some signal service or go to some chat room, all without the aid of having to buy some $10,000, $15,000 course. It's just one click away. It's right there. How about this example, TCOM, all right, trip.com. All right, it's been going down, and you're saying to yourself, well, yeah, I don't like this stock, but I'm not really sure about it. You do a scan, guess what? It's the first bar in a red block. So this is telling you that it's not 100% guarantee, but there's a strong certainty that this is heading lower. There's no, telling how low it will go, but we give you tools, different ways in which to trade it. But you may decide you don't like this. You may want to sell by the puts. Maybe you want to go short. Maybe you're long, and this is a great signal to take to exit your trade. Either way, you decide to exit or sell right here, and stock fell 15 points in the next 2 months. Okay, that's the simplicity of trading it this particular way. As I said, there are multiple ways in which to trade it more aggressively, more conservatively. We teach you ways where to exit. We teach you some of the different ways in which to get back in, but that's all in our course. I'm just sharing with you the simplest way to apply it right now. So now you have the 3-step process. You know how simple it is on our platform. Let's look at some recent examples. And remember, we went through that 3-step process on our platform the exact same way I just explained to find out what all of these examples were and all of these different trades were. All right, we're looking at STLD. This was just last week. Doesn't look like much is happening, really. Kind of a sideways market. But if you would have scanned, you would have seen that there was a yellow block around this bar on the 17th. Let's say you got home, you went through the 3-step process. You said, wow, I want to buy this the next day, or maybe I'll place a limit, or I'll just go with the market. Maybe I'll buy the calls. It's up to you. Remember, you make the decision. So you decide to buy 18 points coming into yesterday, okay? Not a bad little straight up move, right? Here's NIO, N-I-O, okay? It's been going down. A lot of traders will say, well, Steve, this is kind of down a little bit too much for me. I see you're right. It is in a downtrend, but it's tremendously oversold. You know, that site I go to that looks at overbought, oversold, they says that you have to buy this because it's tremendously oversold. So I can't imagine going short. This is why most of us fail, because we're listening to someone or something else tell us how we should trade. The PTS-XT isn't telling you anything. It's just identifying stocks, futures, currency pairs that are deemed to be in an extreme up or down mode. Whether you want to trade it is up to you, but don't do the opposite, because right here was the first day in an extreme downward block, a red block. You could have sold right there. Remember, this is an inexpensive stock. So we're not saying you have to short an $17, $18 stock, but let's say you were long or thinking about getting long. This would have told you probably to wait a little bit, because the stock quickly dropped 7 points, okay? About a third of its value. Here's an example in FANG. Someone would say, well, how can we make a decision based off 2 bars? Well, that's the beauty of the PTS-XT scan on our platform. It does that for you. You could have scanned and seen that there was a yellow block around here on the first day. This was at the beginning of October, a couple of weeks ago. 17 points coming into this last week. Here's an example in AEP. Once again, not much really happening. Kind of looks like sideways to lower. Most traders would say, you know, I can't see anything here, so I'm not going to really do anything. But that's why we rely on the PTS-XT, because it actually saw something different. It saw that the market was deemed to go much lower, and that you should actually be selling this on the 20th of September, and it dropped 20 points coming into a couple of weeks ago. Let's look at CAR. This was just a week from last Monday, okay? It was the first bar in a yellow block. That's a strong buy setup. You can decide to buy at the market if you scan this just a couple of minutes before the close, or you could buy some calls, or you could wait to put a limit in at a little lower price, hope you get it. We teach you all these different ways in the class, but look what happened. Coming into yesterday, it was up 50 points, okay? It's over a 25% price gain in just about a week or so. Here was a sell in Tesla. This was coming into this month in October, okay? Sell signal, and we've seen Tesla fall out of bed 65 points since that happened. As we look at Netflix, we know that Netflix has been in the news, a lot of great news that came out. I remember once again, but you know, we didn't know that over a week ago. All we knew that there was a buy signal because a yellow block was around this bar, and the bar was down on the day. This is where you thought, if you were a candlestick trader, that there was a dark cloud pattern. But most traders will say, well, you know, I don't know. It looks like it may be, you know, starting to curl over, and you're telling me I should buy? Yeah, because 57 points in just 1 week. That was coming into yesterday. Now let's look at Adobe. We looked at that earlier. This was in mid-September. This is the first bar you could have scanned for in a red block. Stock fell 93 points. Now look what happened. You knew 2 days before this gap to the downside. Now, obviously, there must have been some news. I always say this. This is why I stopped looking at news 4 decades ago. When you have the right tools that are based on market behavior, most of the time, I would say the majority of the time, it's been my experience, you know what direction the market wants to go prior to a news announcement. I know a lot of students are afraid to get in the way of news because they say, well, Steve, you know, that's happened to me before. I bought and then there was an announcement, went straight down. Or I sold and an announcement came out and went straight up. That's true. And that can happen every once in a while to us as well. But it's been my experience that the tools that we have, since they're based simply on what the market is telling us, not on what the earnings are telling us, not on what the economy is telling us, just on what the chart is telling us, that most of the time, you know in advance what the gap down is going to be or the gap up. For example, this one in Adobe right here in mid-September, it gapped down tremendously, but we had a sell signal 2 days in advance. as we look at an inexpensive stock, here's a $2 stock, BEAT, okay, Biotelemetry, telemetry, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right, Incorporated. Once again, someone would look here and say, wow, okay, we just gapped up, but wow, I would have liked to buy it down here, so I'm not going to buy it after that big price up move, percentage wise. But if you hit our PTS extreme trend, click on scan, you would have seen that that was the very first day it was in a yellow block. So where you thought maybe it was up a little bit too much, even though it's an inexpensive stock, the percentage gain was too much. No, that's generating a buy signal. And let's say you decided to buy here, roughly around $2. You made 4.5 points coming into the beginning of October this month. Now, I know a lot of you may say, well, 4.5 points, that's not a lot, Steve. But remember, this is an inexpensive stock. That's a 200% price gain in 3 weeks. Think if you bought IBM or Tesla or Google and it gained 200% value in 3 weeks. It's all relative, as I always say. You can trade this on inexpensive stocks. You can also trade it on expensive stocks. Here's an example in GNRC, Generac, okay? This is a $230 stock. All right, it gapped down here. And you say to yourself, well, yeah, I know it doesn't look good, but I can't sell it now. I would have loved to sell it up here around 245. Now it's down to 210. I've lost 35 points. I would have loved to have made that. But if you, once again, clicked on the PTS-XT Extreme Trend tab, in the downward menu here, click on scan, and what do you see? First bar in a red block. So where everyone else is saying, well, I can't touch it now, it's down too low, you're actually being told that most likely this is the beginning of a strong downward move. Had you decided to sell there, potentially could have captured 107 points coming in to this last week. Now, I know not everyone trades stocks. We have students around the world that trade other markets. So let's look at some other markets and some other time frames. Okay, let's start off with time frame in the spiders. Let's say you're an intraday trader. You like to trade intraday the spiders. Okay, well, looking at this 15-minute chart, looks like it's going up, but not enough information on a 15-minute time frame. This was just Monday, I believe, of this week. Or see, I'm looking at my calendar here. I'm sorry, this was Friday of last week. Okay. There was a first bar here in yellow. That's on a 15-minute time frame. Remember, you can scan for intraday time frames as well. So you would have seen that this was actually generating a buy signal on a 15-minute chart last Friday. You could have potentially made 6 points by the end of the day. Okay, 6 points represented hundreds of Dow Jones Industrial points to the upside. So a lot of traders like to use this as a market identifying tool as well to try and tell the trend of the market. How about a 30-minute chart of WDFC, WD40, okay? A lot of traders would say, well, Steve, this stock's just going sideways on a 30-minute time frame. I'm not going to do anything. But if we apply the PTS-XT, we see that it may be going sideways, but for the last 4 bars, it is in a red block. So this is a great chance to get short because it hasn't done anything yet. You've had 4 days or 30-minute time frame bars to get in, and you haven't done anything yet before it fell out of bed, 23 points. Okay, once again, a gap to the downside. How did we know to get short in advance of that? The market was telling us. How about a monthly chart of the dollar yen? Okay, we have forex traders out there. Obviously, in hindsight, we've seen that on a monthly basis, this currency pair has been going straight up, right? How could we've taken advantage of it, though? Not buying it up way up here the way most traders do, but just getting in somewhere down here. Well, you apply the PTS-XT, and you would have seen that this was the first bar in a yellow block way back here in May of 2021. You could have potentially, if you were still holding on, at a profit upward of 4,000 pips. And then lastly, we can look at gold. Here's a weekly chart of gold XAU USD. Once again, doesn't look like much is happening, but right here in June, on a weekly time frame, it generated a sell signal, telling us that most likely there's going to be a strong move to the downside, and we've all seen gold go much lower, about 200 basis points. So as you can see, we can apply this to any market, any time frame. It makes absolutely no difference. You can scan intraday, you can scan End of day, you can scan monthly bars, weekly bars. You have all that application on the platform. So let's review. You must go through this three-step process if you want to trade the PTS-XT, the simplest and, in my opinion, the most powerful way. So you conduct a nightly PTS-XT scan. Now remember, you can do this 2 minutes before the close. The scanner is so fast, you'll be able to see, you can go through the S&P 500 in a couple of minutes, and you'll have a good minute to decide which, if you want to go short or long certain stocks, or you can use it just to get a feel for where stocks are, okay? Or you can, if you're working, you can come home at night, 5, 6 o'clock at night, run a scan and go over all the stocks and get a setup for the next day. You can choose for yourself what you want to trade, if at all. Just select the stocks with a bar count of 1. That means they have only either been in the red or the yellow block for 1 bar. So if it's going to be a big move, those are the ones you want to get in, right? I mean, that's where you want to buy or sell on the very first bar. And then lastly, trade. Make your own decisions. Remember, as I said in the beginning of the presentation, our goal as an educator is to provide you with the tools and techniques and methods to give you the confidence to finally make your own decisions. Think of it, we're all trained to go to a website to listen to some guy tell us what he likes, what he thinks you should be buying or selling, what he's going to be doing, all right? We're all trained to wait for the earnings to find out what we should do. They may be good, they may be bad, so we have to wait because they'll tell us what to do. Or we're all trained to listen to people on TV after the close tell us what they like or what they think about the market. But we're never trained to make our own decisions. Step on board, become a member of the PTS-XT course so that you can ultimately take control of your own trading destiny. Remember, it is a gambler's mindset to try and pick tops and bottoms, but it's a professional mindset to trade with the trend. And that's what the PTS-XT does. It automatically gets you in sync with a strong, extreme trend. Now ask yourself, do you think this indicator, we just went over and showed you a number of examples in all markets and timeframes, do you think this tool can help your trading for the remaining 2 months of 2022? That's all we have. I'm sure most of you are nowhere near where you thought you'd be at the beginning of the year, right? We all make these hopes and dreams and promises where we want to be by the end of the year, have that extra income so that we can go on that dream trip, or maybe build that addition to our home, or maybe buy that car. And I would venture to say that 80 to 90% of us never get there. It's because we're basing our decisions off someone or someone else. This tool can get you back on track for 2023. All right, we have a great offer for you today. And when I say great, I really mean great, because Pro Trader Strategies, who was in charge of all the discounts and the pricing, really came up with a great discount for this attendee special today. So we're going to offer you our PTS-XT Extreme Trend Package, okay? This is the PTS-XT that generates these high probability zones with any market, any time frame. Remember, you can trade your current strategy with us. A lot of our students like to say, well, Steve, I kind of like my strategy right now. So what they do is they wait for either a yellow block or a red block to apply their strategy. And that has increased their odds for consistency even more. So you can build your own strategy. It really gives you the confidence to pull the trigger. You can also apply this to day trading. But here's the best thing about this special offer today. We're going to throw in a full year of the PTS Primo charting platform so that you can conduct this 3-step process. So you can actually trade it this way, all right? You don't have to pay an extra year on top of the PTS-XT. We're going to throw in a full year, but that's for a limited time only. You must act quickly. Now, one of the best things about this offer is that you're going to get the PTS-XT, you're going to get a full year of the platform, but there are so many other things on our platform as well. We're not going to just say, well, the only applications you have on the platform are the PTS-XT. On our platform, there are a host of other tools, techniques, and methods that I've accumulated in my 45 years that you won't find anywhere else. These are methods that I've taken from the floor, that are floor trader secrets that we have on the platform. For example, on top of one-click access to the PTS-XT indicator, you also get our enhanced buy-sell line. These are 4 different ways to tell and to display the overall trend. You'll get a strength of trend tool that I developed with Pro Trader Strategies what I learned from the floor, so that you'll be able to tell if a trend is running out of steam or not, or you'll be able to tell if a trend is just about to begin. Obviously, you'll get auto-generated exit levels. These are exit levels that come, these are just one of our different methods for generating an exit level on top of 90 of the most prominent technical indicators, as well as personalized tech support. If there's ever an issue, you can't load up a chart, or you're not understanding exactly how the platform works, we've had rave reviews about our tech support and how they can really help you, and they're there in a matter of minutes to help you resolve any problem you may have. Now remember, the signal scanner is something I'm really proud of because it is so simple, as you just saw, and it's so easy to apply. Let me share with you, if you had our platform and the PTS-XT, what you could have done this past week or so. Here's a simple example. Once again, on our platform, simply click on the PTS-XT Extreme Trend tab. In the drop-down menu, click on Scan, and you can choose any market, any time frame. Let's just say you chose the NASDAQ. And remember, look for the bar count of 1. Now, this example, we have CHX, okay? Now, on the 17th, it was displaying that it was the first day or the first night in a yellow bar. That means most likely it's saying a pretty nice up move is about to happen. This is an inexpensive stock. This is not a $200, $300 stock. This is roughly a $20 stock. Had you chosen to buy it last, I believe a week from last Monday, well, you could have gained 10 points or price gain of 30% in 1 week. Now, this slide was taken today. This actually happened today. Look what, once again, a gap to the upside. It's funny how week in advance we knew to go long before some news announcement or caused it to gap up. So this is roughly, you're gaining 30% price gain in 1 week just off the scan. This could have paid for the pricing, paid for the nice discount we're going to offer you today. Just another example of these things are happening over and over all the time in inexpensive stocks or in other markets as well. Take your trading to the next level with the original PTS-XT Extreme Trend Indicator. Now, we have found out, people have told us, we've seen on the internet that there are a lot of copycats out there trying to copy the PTS-XT, even with the same display. But this is the original, so don't get fooled by something that doesn't have the same quality as the PTS-XT. So here's the great offer I promised you today, okay? Remember, you're going to get a full year of the platform, which includes a host of other different tools and techniques, along with the PTS-XT Extreme Trend tool. So here's the special offer we're offering for you today. Now, normally, if you buy the Extreme Trend tool, the regular price is close to $5,000, $49.95. Here's the great offer we have for you today. We're not going to charge you that. We're going to only offer you a one-time payment of $497. That means you only have to come up with $497, a one-time payment, and just a monthly payment of $97 per month. This includes a full year of the platform. This is a great, great offer. You're saving a tremendous amount of money. We're not charging you $49.95. Now, let's say you're not interested in having a monthly payment. You say, Steve, listen, I have the extra funds. I'm willing to buy it outright. I don't want to have a monthly payment. Okay. If you want to pay in full, we'll still reduce it by $500. You'll only pay $44.95. And once again, you'll still get a full year of a free platform. So this is a great offer. I know a lot of you, $44.95 is still tough to come up with in one lump sum. That's okay. For $497, you can be up and running as early as today. You can be able to get our platform along with the all of the video course rules via email. You'll have our tech support set it up for you, and you can be up and running and learn how to trade it as soon as today. Here's how to take advantage of this. Contact Pro Trader Strategies. They're in charge of all the tech support. They're in charge of all the pricing and discounts. I developed the platform with them, and you can call them directly at 310-598-6677. Trading consultants will be there, happy to answer any question that you may have concerning pricing, concerning tech support or data issues, okay? Now, I'm going to leave this information up here. That link you see right here at the bottom is the link that will take you to the info page, as well as the sign-up page. You can actually sign up online if you like. It's not a live link, but a live link has just been posted in the chat box. So if you go to the chat box on the screen right there and click that open, you'll be able to see that live link, and you can click that on. Now, I promised you the last 20, 15 minutes for any questions. I see we have some, so I'm going to open them up. You can either go to the question and answer box or type them in to the chat box as well. Question, does it work for daily futures trading? Yes, it does. In fact, I actually apply it to the futures because that's my main market of choice. And so you can, yes, you can use it on virtually any market, any time frame. 5-minute or 1-minute ES charts. Yes, it doesn't matter what time frame or market you're looking at. Remember though, contact Pro Trader Strategies with any data questions because in terms of teaching or trading, yes, you can apply it to any market or time frame. In terms of data, it may be something different in terms of your platform issues, okay? Let's see, do you need a brokerage account? Well, with any firm, yes. I mean, we are not a broker. We are just a educational company. So yes, this is not something that on our platform you go directly and trade through. This is just an educational platform. The way I apply it and the way a lot of our students do is you usually have a platform that you trade off of, let's say like you know, a broker that you trade through. And then you have that platform open that you enter and trade and make all your orders and apply all your orders through. Then you have another browser open with the platform, and that's where you get your ideas and see what's going on. So that's the way to use it. There are talks of potentially being able to trade through our platform, but as of yet, those aren't really concrete. They're just in the discussion phase right now, okay? Thanks for keeping all of this simple and interesting for people. I use the PTS every day. I trade. Oh, great. This is from a great student of ours, Eric, who's been a student for a while. And it really is a simple tool, as he says, to apply. I use it. It really helps you. And one of the things we always stress to all of our students, our new students, is to paper trade first, not to just go out and jump feet first and jump in. We want you to paper trade. But while you're paper trading, you get a feel for it and how to use it. And you'll be able to see all of the great examples in different ways that this really tells you in advance when a trend is about to start. I'm sure Eric has seen this before. I see it all the time. And that's why it's such a great tool. But you have to figure out how you want to personally apply it, because there are you know, dozens of ways to do that. The good news is that we share with you all those different ways on our course, okay? So our course gives you many different ways to trade with it. If you want to trade it conservatively, aggressively, different ways to exit, different ways to enter. So there's lots of great ways. Also, we teach you stop placement and money management. So that's all in the course as well, okay? Good questions. Any more before we conclude here today? Also want to mention that a lot of students always wonder what kind of correspondence they'll get, or what do they have trouble, not only with tech support, which I told you is very simple, but also just with learning how to apply this. All students of mine, whether you're a professional, been trading 50 years, or whether you've been trading just for the past week, you all get my personal email address where you can contact me whenever you'd like. So if at any time you have a question, you're not sure you're doing things correctly, and perhaps you're paper trading, but you just want someone to check your work, you can always email me. Send me a snapshot of the chart that you're interested in, and I will be right there to answer your question in a matter of moments, okay? So it's not like we just give you this course and say, good luck, and best of luck trying to learn how to do this. I'm there with you every step of the way. So anytime you run into difficulty, I'll be there to answer the questions that you may have, okay? Via email. How do I use this tool? Do you day trade or swing trade it, or both? And do you use it on stocks or the E-mini? Well, I prefer to use it on the E-mini, but remember, it makes no difference how I use it. This goes back to what I said before. We're all trained to ask someone, well, how do you do it? If you're successful, then tell me, I'll just copy you. Everyone has to find their own way. We have traders that say, no, the best way to apply this is on the forex market, because the forex has some great trends, as you saw in that dollar-yen example I shared with you. And they'll tell me this works better than any other market. Then I'll have other students say, no, it works tremendously on stocks. I only use it on stocks, and I only use it on weekly bars. Then I'll have other students that say, no, the best trends are intraday. I use it on intraday time frame, and I'm an intraday trader, and that's the best market. Now, it's not that one is better than the other. You have to find what market feels best for you. So where I might want to use it on a 5 or 10 minute bar of the E-mini futures, someone else would say, no, it works great on a weekly chart of Bitcoin. So that's what our goal is. Remember, not to copy anyone else and not to take your cue from someone else, but to figure out for you. And the only way you can do that is by studying the course and then by paper trading. That's how you find out, okay? Think of any other career, okay? Think of any other endeavor. There is always a practice or a rehearsal or some type of exposure to doing it. In other words, an actor just doesn't, before he goes into a play, just doesn't start that night and says, okay, I read the script and I'll just go through and do the play. They have a rehearsal. They figure out exactly how to do it. An athlete just doesn't start playing. If it's a baseball player, doesn't say, well, okay, I've been swinging at home on my own. I'm just going to start playing tomorrow. They have practice. They know exactly how to practice to see what best fits their nature. It's the same way with trading. You have to practice first. Not by applying real funds, but practice as if you really are trading with real capital. It's what we call paper trading. And then once you do that, you paper trade a 15-minute chart, you paper trade a swing trade, you paper trade different markets. Then you can decide, well, I kind of like this market better, or I like swing trading better than intraday, or vice versa. But ultimately, it's you that has to decide, because if you don't feel comfortable with the time frame, or if you don't feel comfortable with the market, it doesn't matter how successful that tool is, you won't make money because you'll be out of sync with your comfort zone. You won't feel comfortable. You'll second guess it. You'll exit too early. You'll get out too late. It'll just be a disaster because you're not comfortable. You're not in your spot. The only way to find that is through paper trading. Okay. Any other questions? These are great questions. These are all learning questions, and I'm glad you're asking me now as we have you. Remember, this is a great offer. Normally runs close to $5,000 for really just an increment of that. For $497, you can be up and running with a small monthly payment of $97 per month. And the best thing about this is you get a full free year of the platform. Most students have to pay the $5,000 for the PTS-XT, then they have to pay $1,000 or so or more for a full year of the platform. Here, we're throwing in a full year free. So take advantage of this, contact Pro Trader Strategies, and don't be intimidated. They're not going to try to sell you anything. They'll answer any question you may have, and it's up to you to decide. You can take a couple of days or a week to think about it. My only suggestion would be not to wait too long, like 2 weeks or a month, because this offer will be gone. It'll be back up to close to $5,000. So if you're anywhere interested at all, take a couple of days to think about it, but then contact Pro Trader Strategies. Remember, they're not going to try and really pressure you into any sales. They'll answer any question that you may have. It's entirely up to you, okay? All right, if there are no further questions, as we close here and take one last look at our disclaimer, thank you so much for attending today. I know you're busy. I know you had other things to do, but you took time out to listen to me speak. I really hope I taught you something, not only about our philosophy of trading, but also how to trade with the PTS-XT. And most especially, I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the PTS-XT course. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best of luck, and I'll see you in the next webinar. Bye-bye.